What's going on, everybody? Prophecy Wiz, and this past weekend I won a case tournament with Melodious, took executive first place, and the deck was absolutely insane. The deck's been absolutely insane, and yeah, I wanted to share with you guys the list, so let's get right into it. The first thing I played was 3 copies of Refrain. Refrain is obviously one of the best starters in the deck. Refrain is a full 1-card combo. The scale effect is obviously super important as well. Dumping is crazy at rescaling itself. Everything about this card is absolutely amazing. There's no deck without Refrain, so we're obviously main decking 3 copies of Refrain. Then we are playing 3 copies of Couplet. You want to make sure to main deck 3 Couplet. Like when I first started playing the deck, I was like, oh, I wonder if you could just play 2 Couplet, but you definitely do need all 3 copies because Couplet and any other Melodious card, either of the cards that are like considered to be bricks, the Shapina, anything, any other Melodious monster and Couplet is a full 1 card or both 2 card, I guess, full combo. And then additionally, Couplet is really nice to open because if you start with it, sometimes it'll bait an Ash Blossom and then you can play with the rest of your cards, as well as Couplet along with Ostinato puts an additional spell and trap negate on your end board, so Couplet's really nice. Then we played, this is one of the differences that I have been playing recently. I am playing 3 copies of Soprano. So Soprano, what's really nice about Soprano is that Soprano coupled with like any of the other cards either allows a combo or makes the combo better. So like Soprano and Sonata is the full entire combo. Soprano and Couplet is obviously full combo. And then if you open Soprano and Refrain, depending on what hand traps they have, it can oftentimes allow you to play through like 3 hand traps, or like especially first movement solo. Like if they don't Ash first movement solo, Soprano can allow you to play through like do full combo through triple hand trap. So it just makes your combos a lot more potent, obviously, if you open it with Ostinato. If you open Ostinato and any fairy monster, even Herald of Orange Light, if you open Ostinato, Herald of Orange Light, and 3 Fool going first, or no other cards in hand, it doesn't matter, you can set up like the God board with the Herald spell and trap negate with a fairy in hand, and then Shiberta, Etoile, and the Aria. So it's definitely nice to like max. You want to make sure that you max on it because obviously we play Herald of Orange Light as well in deck, and this one just like lets us play through interruptions the best. So definitely max out on the Soprano. Then we play 3 copies of the Sonata. This card is not once per turn to summon, and it's just a great extender. Like if your Baka gets impermanent, it's really nice to be able to special summon this, not have to like waste your normal summon or God forbid a pendulum summon, and then just continue to play. It lets you just like, this just allows you to play through hand traps really nicely, and then obviously like this and Soprano or this and Couplet is just like full combo as well. If you have like this and Reframe gets impermed, you can just summon this and just keep playing. So it's this card is really nice for things like that. The attack boost is like fine. It doesn't come up a lot, and I'm wary of leaving this thing on the field because if you summon multiple times throughout a turn, which usually if you're summoning from the extra deck, you're summoning more than one time. Like a Etoile can just check Typhon. However, if you have Sonata on the field, the Etoile's bigger than makes Etoile 33, and then it makes your board a lot more Typhonable. So I'm like super weary of that. I almost never leave this on the field. Like I'd leave almost anything else on the field, so try not to leave this on the field. However, it just summoning itself and not being once per turn to summon itself is so good. It facilitates certain combos. Like there are quite a few combos where like you dump this and it's required for the combo because of it's not not being once per turn. As I'm sure you guys can see, I'm not playing Cannon. The spoiler alert, I cut Baguska. I think Baguska is just not good this format. The Baguska combo is just not real at the moment and not required, so I am not playing the 1 copy of Cannon. I think that Sonata is just infinitely better because it's not once per turn. It's got a better effect. Also, it absolutely does come up. The Sonata boost comes up when you have like summon a guy, and like it has come up like a few times where I'll summon a Soprano, summon Sonata, and then attack over like an SP, attack directly, and then just use the two of them to fuse and then continue playing. So I think Cannon's just not. You just don't play Cannon. The card's just a brick. It's not like a full brick. Like it's not like horrific to draw, but you'd rather draw like all of the other ones. Just like max out on like all of the good ones, like all the good ones that you want to draw. You just like play 3 of them because it makes the combos a lot stronger. And I was able to. There was one game where I got Ash, Imperm, Droll, Nibbed, and they had Bonfire, and I still just like cooked them. Because I sequenced appropriately, had like a strong combo hand that like had like quite a few combo pieces, and I sequenced appropriately, and I was able to just like play right through. So that was really nice. And then I played the one Arya. This deck, it's like in a weird way one of this deck's boss monsters. This deck is unplayable without Arya, but because of Arya, it's just the best deck in my opinion. Like genuinely, I don't think it's like an awesome rogue pick. I think this is just the best deck. I think it plays. It's super consistent going first. It plays like the best and most non-engine going second. This card into Detonator, like if you go first and set up the full combo, I realized that like Ryziel can't do anything if you know what you're doing. Like if you actually know what you're doing and you are able to interact perfectly. Like I played into Full once because I just didn't have the out, and I let my opponent start with 11 cards and he was on Ryziel because I Ryziel Fiendsmith because I knew damn well he couldn't out he literally had a 12 Shiberta and Arya and he couldn't out the end board because I played appropriately. So yeah, this card is just berserk. Like going second into a Detonator, you just let this field. The power spells can just like get this to field, and it just turns off Detonator and you just choke slam him from there. It's really, really good. This card is absolutely insane. In certain matchups, like they just cannot do anything about this card. It's also really, really good into like I played a White Forest deck and just summoned this off of the first movement solo because I already opened Refrain and Soprano, and they had double Imperm set, and it just like cooked because they just couldn't Imperm, couldn't do anything, and I just went crazy. So Arya is like one of the like very most important like it's like part of like the heart of the deck. Then we played the one Shapina. This card is obviously amazing. It's not a once per turn. It's soft. Well, it's a soft once per turn, so you can just continue to use it. And I've used this 2-3 times in a turn, infinite amounts of times. It adding back Artifact Lancia is crazy. It came up against the Krishan and Amalus deck that I was adding back Artifact Lancia with this card, and that was just amazing. This card's super cracked, and there are times where like you search it via the combo. Like if you start like Ostinato, your opponent chains Fu and you Ash, you just add this and you can just do the full combo anyways. Like 100% combo, exact same thing. You just gotta know how to sequence. So this card, it's just broken, right? It adds back Herald of Orange Light, which comes back, like that comes up a lot, and adding back Lancia, and then obviously just adding back all of your other pieces. This card's like very vital to the deck, and if you do draw it like this and couple it, it's just like full combo. And if you draw with like any other thing, like even if you draw like this in Ostinato, you can still just set up the God board with the Herald of Mirage Lights, Spell and Trap Negate, the Fairy in Hand, Shiberta Etoile, and the Aria. So let me know if you guys want to see those combos. I can show a combo video of how to do those. I've been doing like a lot more broken combos. Like the better I've gotten with this deck, I've innovated all the combos myself. All these combos you're not going to see on a combo video because I created them all myself. So if you guys really want to see that, let me know in the comment section below. Then I played 3 copies of Better Branded Fusion. This card is actually insane. I really don't even know what to say about this card. This is just like one of the best Yu-Gi-Oh cards I've ever had the pleasure of playing. I can't give it high enough praises. Like, however I'm going to praise it is not high enough for how good it actually is. Ostinato is the one. Like, it's really is just your hand is so good when you open Ostinato. Like, you by no means need Ostinato in your hand. Like, yeah, I win like infinite times without Ostinato. Like, it makes the hand so much better. This card resolving is just insane. Sending fusion materials from deck and not requiring like normal summon or anything. It's so much advantage you get from this card that it is just bonkers. You could still use this on a Dimension Shifter, which came up in the tournament. it just doesn't restrict you. That's crazy work out of this card, not restricting you into anything. I can't even sing this card's praises enough. I am just the biggest fan of this card. This card is just, I mean, there's no deck without Ostinato. Like, you don't need to open Ostinato. I could go a whole tournament and not open Ostinato once and win, but like, it makes the hand so much better when you do open it. Like, if there was no Ostinato, I like wouldn't play. Like, the ability to be able to draw Ostinato, it just makes this deck so cracked. It's so good. I think we all kind of know that about Ostinato, but I feel like I need to give it his flowers because that card is just crazy. Like, there were some hands, like, there's just some games, like, you should have no business winning where your opponent just opens crazy. Like, my opponent did, like, full memento combo, and I just choked them anyways. Then we play 3 copies. Our first movement solo. This one is obviously full card, like, full combo, but it's, like, the worst one because it locks you in a Melodious, so, like, you can't put the Herald out, and, like, most of the other combos you can end with like the spell and trap negate, which is really nice because then like your board can't lose the talents. You still just like won't lose the talents if you just play smart with this, but it and like this is nice because it doesn't eat your normal summon. So like you know, obviously if this doesn't get ashed, like this and A Soprano just like mows through hand traps if you're sequencing appropriately. So this card is obviously a 3-of. I mean, it's a full combo on its own. So definitely need to play this card, and this card was really good. I opened this like quite a few times, and it was really just nice to be able to not use my normal summon and summon out of the deck. It's crazy. So then I played 1 copy of Concerto. I've seen some people playing more copies of this. Don't play more copies of this. You just need 1. Like, just manage the resources appropriately, in my opinion. 1 is perfect. You don't really want to do. If you draw it, it's fine. It's not an issue, but you don't want. This is not a card that you want in your opening hand. Therefore, we just play 1 copy of it, right? So, yeah, just play 1 copy of that, trust me. 1 copy of Pot of Prosperity. This card was amazing. It allowed me more chances to just hit Ostinato. It allowed me to dig into like crazy non-engine, going second. It like drew, like hit me into an imperm once to imperm Caesar and just chokes my opponent. I have nothing bad to say about this card. Obviously, you can't draw off the fusion spell, but who cares? Does not matter at all. Prosperity is just an absolute requirement. It's like you're just about guaranteed to like hit one of the like a way to play with Pot of Prosperity, and if not, you are going to hit something that is just going to help you astronomically. So, Pot of Prosperity required. Then getting into the non-engine, so I just played all of the good engine. You know, it's like you really don't need to like this deck is a very much so about just playing it really well, not like you don't need to tech one of this and one of this, and you know you just max out on the good ones. Play ones of like the things that you need in the deck. That I think you absolutely need. You know, like the Ari and the Shpina, but everything else just either max on it or not. And then this is like what makes this deck good, in my opinion, is like the non-engine. I think the non-engine, it can play more non-engine than any of the other decks, if not like the same amount. Oftentimes more non-engine with less cards in the deck. Be just as consistent, and the non-engine cards are better. So speaking of one of the better cards that everybody else cannot play, Herald of Orange-Light. This card is so crazy. This card's not only crazy going second, like oftentimes I just hold this to like deal with the Caesar and then just like hammer my opponent because the Trap Engrave doesn't stop anything, and I was able to stop my opponent's Duo Drive. And like this deck doesn't really care about Detonator. The Orange Light is it's just good into so much. It like going first is also just such a big deal that this card can negate Fua. That came up like quite a few times, and like even negating like negating your opponent's Ash on Ostinato. Like they really have no like anything to do to that. Like they try to Ash Ostinato and use Orange Light, and then like you summon Shpina, and then Shpina can just add that Orange Light back to your hand, and that to me is just insane. So Orange Light was broken. I am like that. This is like one like a contributing factor to playing this deck is like you can play Orange Light, and Orange Light can deal with Fua, as well as like this card is just broken. Card can like just help you play through like everything Nib and all the friends. Card is really good. Most combos can just play through Nib, but if you just have like refrain and 4 hand traps, and like yeah, two of them are on orange light, I guess like you would be able to stop Nib in that combo or whatnot. So the next card we played is the card of the format, probably the best card in Yu-Gi-Oh right now, 3 Fua. Barring the cost, if you can afford it, because I'm not going to suggest anybody to buy anything that they can't afford. If you can afford to play Fua, you need to be playing it in the main deck. Don't side it, main it. Especially, I mean, in this deck, it's obviously insane. Like, I figured out, like, a lot of the one-card combos, you can set up the full end board with, like, Shiberta, Twal, and Arya, and then leave your Pendulum Scales, like, use the DD Crow, bounce your board, and bounce something they control, and then, like, resolve Fua on turn 0. This card is like broken in this deck specifically, but it's also, like I said, if you guys want to see those combos, let me know. I'll make a combo video. But this card is also just super broken in every deck. It just dictates a lot of matchups. Like there's no card that does what this card does. It's the insane against Betsex. It's insane against every deck that is like really good right now. For being honest, like normal summon Ice Raziel, Chain Fua is just like to the effect. It's just crazy. Like you're getting 2 draws and they're passing on just a detonator without Twins of Eclipse Live. That is just broken. That is so much advantage. Like you're starting with 7 cards and they're passing on just detonator, where like usually you hand trap like twice and they end on like just detonator and maybe trap engrave or something. So right, and then you start with like 4 cards, which is like still winning, but like starting with 7 cards is just like you've won the game. This card like has so many ways to like play and use it skillfully. It's just this card's like was really good for Yu-Gi-Oh in my opinion. I really think it like helps the dynamic of being able to play going first and second. There was once my opponent like Ash Masnado and I had to pass, and then I had Fua and I just like Fua'd him back and he gave me like 2 draws, and then I got my draw for turn, and it was just like can't give me like you can't just let me get 3 cards here, so you can't do less than you would have done and then also give me 3 cards. Then we play Ash Blossom. Obviously, I think everybody just needs to be playing Ash. Like cards like Ash and Fua. Like if you're not playing Ash and Fua, like you're probably just playing the wrong deck. If I'm being honest, if your deck doesn't main deck Fua and you can afford Fua, you're playing the wrong deck. Ash Blossom is the same thing. Like it stops Fua. It stops like just about everything. It stops with Duo Drive. This card is just incredible. It stops like some of the important spells and traps against the Malice deck. Ash is kind of just like one of those formatless, like it's not like a format depending card. It's just always gonna be good every single format. So 3 Ash Blossom should be pretty standard here, honestly. Obviously we're just we're just playing all the good on engine. So Orange Light, Fua, Ash, you know, all the good ones. So then we play 3 copies of Effect Veiler. This card's really good because it can deal with like any of the cards that can, or at least like a mass chunk of the things that could like deal with an Arya. Especially if you're like blinding the board that is really good in Raziel, like it can just stop. Like realistically, if they can't make Desiree in the Fiendspit deck, you just like Valor it and they just like just do nothing, and then you can sometimes Valor the big guy in the Mitsurugi deck as well, the big blue ritual that nukes the board. And even if it requires another card, it doesn't really matter. If they can't nuke your board, they're just done. So, Valor is really good. It obviously stops Duo Drive. It can stop the Heart Cryptor as long as it's not co-linked, to make sure it's not co-linked. Or you have to, like, chain it, like, so that, like, a Twal can, like, bounce their thing it points to. Like, you can make sure to use Valor skillfully there. It stops, like, an access code talker. Against Malice, they have, like, a lot of different ways to deal with, you know, your Arya, but it's nice because Ash and Purge both can deal with the trap that searches non-target banishes, and then Valor and Imram can deal with the other one. So Valor was really good. It's not once per turn. You just want like to play. You just want to max on all the best hand traps, and I think this deck is just like very dependent on just like playing the better cards and playing really well. So it's mained all the good hand traps, and it's like really no need to complicate it and draw like ones that are less strong. Imperm's obviously insane. Doesn't play any talents. Not once per turn. You could use it on your turn, which comes up a lot. Like sometimes I'll hold this for Caesar because I know if I just stop Caesar, they just can't do anything. Like Caesar Detonator does nothing. It's just getting slammed. So Imperm's like one of the best ones. Imperm's crazy. Imperm's I have nothing bad to say about Imperm. It's similar lines to Valor, except it's just like a even better card because it doesn't play the talent. So Imperm you should be playing 3 of. Then we play 3 copies of Dominus Purge. This is like one of the reasons to play this deck. It's really nice because it stops the Malice Trap that searches non-target banishes. It does not play into Triple Deck's talent. It can stop Duo Drive. It can, if your opponent starts Engraver and Ghost Track, like you would stop a track there because you don't want to deal with Caesar. So, you obviously hope to not have Ice Raziel there. This card's like good in a mid game it destroys if you have Trap Engrave, which is cool. It's good in, this card's just like worse Ash Blossom, but like maybe tied with like Ash Blossom's probably better because it's more generic and like it can stop Fua. This card would be crazy if it can stop Fua. However, this card is just really, really nice to have every time. So definitely like a reason you would play this deck is also because you can play Purge. You can play Purge, Orange Light, main deck Fua really well. So like we main deck 18 hand traps. I think I played like 9 rounds. I lost 8 die rolls. Didn't matter. The deck is just nice. It just plays going second super well, but it also like plays going first. Like it wants to go first, but it doesn't really matter if you go second, which is one of the things I like the most about this deck. So that is the main deck. 40 cards, 18 hand traps, all the best things. I think that's like the most refined main deck. I think that I would keep the main deck the exact same card for card list. Between day 1 and 2 of the YCS, I played like 1 different card. I just didn't play Cannon. I played the 3rd Soprano, and then I think it's like the same main deck. It's been like the same main deck. It's just that one, we're not playing Cannon, we're just playing the Soprano, but the main deck's perfect, so there's no need to mess with that in my opinion. So for the extra deck, we played 2 copies of Baka. When I first started playing this deck and I was like watching profiles to kind of get an indicator of like what other people were playing, everybody's playing 3 Baka. I don't know if I don't know if I played 2 or 3 in the last profile I posted in this because it was such a long time ago. It was like right when I picked up the deck. I picked up the deck like 5 days before that profile. It was a couple months ago, a month or 2 ago, maybe. And you just don't need 3 Baka. Like if you are good at resource management, then you don't need 3 Baka. Like you will just cycle the 1 appropriately, and you should not need 3 copies of Baka in this deck if you can manage your resources appropriately. It's like almost feels like Striker, like Sky Striker, where like you can play a more open extra deck if you are able to handle managing resources. So obviously like we can manage our resources really well. I never, not one single time, wanted the 3rd copy of Baka because I managed the 2 copies well. So I just don't think you should be playing 3 copies of this. I think this is like exactly a 2 of. This card's perfect at 2. And yeah, that is nice. Then we played 2 copies of Shiberta. Shiberta, I think, is a 2 of as well because this one's like not like you can use both copies at the same time. Like it can be 3,000. You could use both copies at the same time, which is cool. I think this card is really nice, and against like graveyard decks, it is nice to have like the 2nd copy of Shiberta. 2 of them, like I summoned 2 at the same time, like quite a few times. Like sometimes if you're playing an aggressive graveyard deck, you would summon both copies on turn 1. So I think this card is a 2 of as well. This card is really, really good into Fiendsmith. Like this card's crazy into Fiendsmith. Like this being so good into Fiendsmith is like one of the reasons that like makes this deck pretty good. I also play like against like a White Forest deck and a Crystron deck, and like against those decks, it's like the Grave Wiping every single turn, 3 cards every turn, which is so strong. And then I played 1 copy of Etoile. Same thing as Baka. Like if you know what you're doing with this deck and you're not just letting your opponent like remove cards inappropriately, your opponent should like never be outing Etoile unless you're allowing it to out Etoile. Like Baka can recycle it back, Soprano can add it back to the extra deck, Shapina can add it back, and like I said, like Baka just summon this back. Like if you do let this get wiped, it's because you decided you're allowing it to get wiped, and then you get summon like 2nd copy of Baka from extra deck, summon reframe, summon reframe, reveal couplet, summon Soprano, and then Soprano can either add it back and you have the resource on the field to add like to summon it again, or you can wait for the Baka to go to the graveyard and then Baka can summon it back. So you should not need more than one copy of a 12 if you're playing appropriately. I don't know why people play more than one copy. Honestly, I don't know if it's they are just like played what everybody else played, and they were like, oh, this is correct because everybody else just said it was correct, and then they played it. But if you play this deck well, you don't need more than one 12, and we shouldn't be like just wasting card spaces in case like we mess up and it comes up. Like if you mess up and you like play poorly and then it comes up, then like you should work on playing better next time. Not like let's play more cards in case we make mistakes, because in Yu-Gi-Oh I don't think you can afford to be playing cards like in case you make mistakes. Similar to like playing time cards, like don't allow yourself to go into time. I know people might be like, oh, well, it's not as easy as that, but like if you can play extremely fast, I think, and you can play a deck that shouldn't be going into time, then I think it does come down to that oftentimes. You know, I'm not saying you'll never ever do it, but like you shouldn't be going into time enough times to like be playing a time card. You know what I mean? So then I played one copy of the Bloom Prima. This card was new. I learned so like all these combos like I had to innovate myself. I every combo I do with this deck I made and theoried and created myself, and I realized that if you play this card in the extra deck, it can allow you to use Ostinato and any fairy in the entire deck. So like Ostinato and Refrain, Soprano, and Aria used to be the God combo with the spell and trap negate, and if you play this, Ostinato and any fairy monster, even just a Herald of Orange Light, is the full God combo that can like put a spell and trap negate up, which is like a really big deal. It came up in my top 4 match against White Forest, and I set up the God board because I opened Couplet with Ostinato, where like if you're not playing this card, then Couplet Ostinato is just like the standard regular the Shiberta, Aria, and Etoile. And because I played this card in the extra deck, the Couplet added a spell and trap negate with a fairy in hand to my hand, and then he had talents and he couldn't use the talents, and then I just bodied him because I was able to put up spell and trap negate on top of my board. So this card is very, very important for the combos going first. If you guys want to see those combos, please let me know. I'll make a combo tutorial. This card came up. I actually never. It was 0% of the reason. It being able to attack twice was like 0% of the reason I played it. That was just like very irrelevant to me, if I'm being honest. However, it did come up once that I wanted to play around Nib, and I did summon it, and I realized that like if I did summon it, I could like summon under 5 times and use 3 monsters to make it, and then I used 3 monsters and it was 2,800, and then wait a minute, I think it was 28, right? $29. And essentially, if you make this with 3 monsters and then you dump the Soprano or the Shapina from the deck, I believe that makes this 4,200, and it attacks twice, so you can just like attack twice for 8,400 damage. I might be mathing wrong there, but I know it is 8,000. It's over 8,000 damage. And it's outside of that. Like I didn't play it for that reason, if I'm being honest. It just randomly came up once that I did attack for big damage with it. But I played it for the combos, if I'm being honest. So one copy of Gravity Controller. This card's important. Playing like the more combo cards, you oftentimes don't have to make this, but I think it's very important to be in the extra deck because I do make it every tournament at least like once or so. So Gravity Controller, important. Bloom. You just need 1. Most combos don't summon Bloom. Sometimes you summon Bloom. Sometimes with somebody going second, just like allow it to get hand trap because I can just like continue to combo past it. And it's a Melodious name, which is very important. I think this card is broken. I mean, the deck is not like I wouldn't play this deck if there was not for Bloom. So like it's very important to the deck. It's just like most of the times on turn 1 you don't summon this, and you're not even like you're really using it on the crackback, but there are times like when you're getting hand trapped especially that you need this card, and this card's really good. So obviously we're playing the 1 copy of that, and like the 1 card combo with like Refrain and first movement, so I'll use it. So That card is really good. Herald of Mirage Lights. I'd say when I go first, I summon this with like the standard end board, or different end boards that I make that I'll explain in a second. I would say I summon this 80% of the time, maybe more, maybe 90% of the time. This is like on my end board because I think like if you just beat talents, like your deck just cranks everything, just absolutely choke slams. So and you can recycle fairy so easily that like I always have a fairy in hand. So I think you need to be playing Herald of Mirage Lights. This card's. I don't think if you are playing this deck, you need to be playing Herald of Mirage Lights, and you need to be summoning it as part of your own combos. Then I played one Protector, Agents of Moon. This card was really important for like when you're playing against Rysdale and you go first and they do like things and then they set up like the field spell. This is very important to out the field spell. So cause you're just like chip them down once you out the field spell, the game's just over. So this card's very important for that. It's your only way to like only have like I guess a few ways at least to deal with like back row and like just deal with like pops. So this card is really good. You have to play this card. The reason I say it like that is because I thought for a moment that I was like, this card's like possibly cuttable, but it's not. So you absolutely have to play this card for sure. Then I played. So I'll go into like I'm gonna skip a few cards and then kind of show that package because I think there's like a few flex spots and I'm gonna show what I decided to play. So this is not a flex spot. This is required Tau Chaos Angel that is made with Light and Dark. I think this card is really strong. I played. I made this card like 3 times during the tournament. This card's very important. I would like a Cyber Dragon Infinity with it. I think I would like Chaos Angel with it, Light and Dark. Because your opponent like summons it thinking you can't do anything about it and banishes your couplet, and you're just like, this game's over still. So this card's really cracked. You absolutely have to play this card. You do not want to deal with like don't play the other fusion. It's gonna require turns and turns. Like this, you'll summon and it's 3,000. Like you have game on the board. Like this, a Shiberta and a Twal is game. So just play this. Don't like usually you can bounce the other shit at, like things at the end phase, bounce the other cards at the end phase, and then summon this and just go crazy. So absolutely required. Typhon, playing 18 hand traps in the main deck. Typhon's insane. There's really not much else to say about it. I mean, you need to be playing Typhon if you're playing this deck. This card's crazy. I mean, just about every deck should just be playing Typhon and wins games. Alright, and then I think there are like a few flex spots in the deck. These are the 3 that I decided to play for this tournament. I have another 3v3 case tournament this weekend that I'm thinking about playing different cards for. I have a really good feeling about that as well, so hopefully I win that and can we'll post that profile as well. But what I decided to play for this is I played IP, SP, and then Azalea. So the thought process behind these were that I played IP because obviously it can go into like SP or Azalea. So the IP being able to go into so like if you opened Ostinato and like just 4 hand traps per like just for simplicity's sake, just like because this requires the 1 card, you don't need the 4 hand traps, just Ostinato in hand, you can set up a Twal, IP into SP or Azalea, and then the Herald spell and trap negate. And I thought that IP into SP with a spell and trap negate with a bounce with 6 cards in hand is really strong into like a lot of rogue decks. So I thought that like it would be worth like playing the IP and SP, especially because like Baka, like if you also not on you Baka for a thing, like you can then summon SP and it can like banish a thing, which is like nice to have like SP outside of that, but IP and SP is nice for that play. I then decided to play the Skyscraper Azalea because I thought setting up that board was infinitely better than the regular board into Malice. Like I don't think Shiberta, Atwal, and Arya is very good into Malice, but I do think a bounce, a pop, and a spell and trap negate is pretty good with 6 cards in hand. Like I think that's actually is pretty good into Malice. This card is also really nice because if your opponent like sometimes will like pass on like DDD trap, and if you have like Refrain another way to play, you can normal summon Refrain, search Sonata, summon Sonata, and oftentimes they're not going to use the trap there. Oftentimes I don't feel threatened by that because they like don't know, like they don't think you could summon anything that's like relevant. They're like, I can't summon SP, like you can't summon this, or like I'll just like, get rid of it. So what they will do is they'll just allow that to go through, and then you send the 2 of them into Azalea effect to pop the DDD, and then it removes itself, and it just like pops on summon. So that actually came up during the tournament that my opponent, and I started doing that because my opponent was like not stopping me on the Sonata, and they were letting me summon the Agents of Moon, and then not like then using the trap on Agents of Moon to send Desiree and send the Moon, and then I couldn't have the Desiree. Where this like kind of dealt with that problem as well. And then when I went first, obviously I didn't want to SP a Malice monster. So I thought like popping it would be like a second good use case for this card. So it was like you could build like good end boards with this and the other things, like just the 1 card combos, and then like any like 2 card combo with like Refrain and Fairy can do the same thing. And then I thought that the like this card was like a nice addition to play because of the Caesar thing, and then I think like the pop is better in Malice than banishing the cards for obvious reasons. So like one thing I am considering for this weekend for the 3v3 case tournament I'm playing in is instead of playing Azalea, it won out Caesar, but I think I'm considering playing Nightmare Unicorn, because I think shuffling back a Malice monster might just be even better. Because the end board with just a 1 card combo is you have 6 cards in hand. One of them is an added back fairy. Oftentimes it's the soprano, and then you have IP, a Twirl, the Herald for the spell and trap negate, and then you have the his name, the Shapina on the field. So you aren't like linking off the spell and trap negate for it, and like you have 6 cards in hand. So like usually you have like 1 card you could spare to shuffle back a monster into the deck, and I think like shuffling back a monster into the deck. So like if we IP into like Unicorn, shuffle back, like say they like normal summon Dormouse, we IP into Unicorn back the Dormouse. Like what is their follow up here? Because like now Bestials like don't help, and like they can go like activate the field spell, and then you chain link to a 12, bounce the field spell, that won't resolve, and like the field spell's hard once per turn. So like now what? Like now what is their actual play? Like Gold Sark or like Allure is the only thing that they can do. They have no other plays, exactly 0 other plays, and you have spell and trap negate, and 5 cards left in hand. So I think that actually seems super broken, and I feel like that seems like a reasonable way to play that matchup. Is to just play that. So that is one thing I'm considering for this weekend. Is what kind of wanted to share that, like my thought process between why I played this and like what I'm thinking about playing moving forward. I'm gonna make those those final decisions, but I just want to let you guys kind of know what was going on there. So then for the side deck, I decided to play 3 copies of Crossout Designator, because when your combos resolve, you just win the game. Pretty much as simple as that. I mean, Crossout's insane. You can cross out Fua, which is irritating, cross out Ash and things. And then I played the 1 copy of Called by the Grave, and I played 1 Triple Tactic Talent. Called by the Grave obviously just like also stops like the irritating hand traps. Like 98% of hands can just like play around Nib. But like Fua and stuff is like really nice stuff. Called by 4, and then Talents is nice because like if you draw the 1 Talents, and like it's cool. Talents is a good card to draw going first, but also having Talents in your deck for crossout is super big, because if you don't have to cross out any hand traps and you just play through hand traps, you can cross out Talents in your opponent's turn, and that's just like game breaking. It's so strong to be able to cross out Talents because so many decks are just playing Talents, and Talents is very good in Daria, so crossing out Talents is very important. I think these 5 are absolutely required. Like, you have to play these 5. And then I also did play the 1 copy of Nib to cross out, just because the 1 card combo does have to, like, the specifically refrain and first movement solo, if you just open them individually, you have to play in a nib. So I wanted to play nib to cross out. Also, if your opponent hand trapped, like, I side into 23 hand traps into Malice and 22 into YuGiOh. So, like, you shoot, like, most people are building their deck to draw 3 hand traps after the first turn. And if you are playing 3 hand traps, like, if you're drawing 3 hand traps, sometimes you then have to play into nib. Like, sometimes if I get hand trapped twice or 3 times, then I have to, like, use the link and, like, play into nib a little bit more than I would need to. So having cross out for that is nice, so that we just win anyways. And yeah, it was really nice. So this package going first, I wanted to put nib with these cards because I've never cited nibbing going second. I don't think it's correct. I would highly suggest against it. Yeah, it's not appropriate in my opinion. Then we played 3 copies of Artifact Lancia. Artifact Lancia is obviously just insane into Malice, and it's specifically insane in this deck because you can use Shapina to just add it back to hand. It was really good against Crystron too. I played against 3 Malice decks in a Crystron deck, and it was just really good when I did see it. I seen it against Malice once, and I seen it against Crystron as well, and never cycled it in both of those games, and that was awesome. Adding it back to hand every turn is just like, it's just crazy via your engine. So this card's really crazy. We'd play it even if we couldn't recycle it, but the fact that we do get to recycle it makes it even better because it's Life Fairy. So this card is just obviously crazy. I think everybody's just like playing it. I think I like a 94% play rate at Birmingham, and it should have been 100% play rate. You should just be playing that card. Then I play 3 copies of Meowls. I think this deck is just really good into YuGiOh naturally, and I think Malice is just, it's hard to go second into Malice. I think everybody just knows that at this point. It's part of people's frustration with Malice, is it just like a pain when they open really good. So I wanted to play like as many, like I wanted to at least give myself like 9 really good cards, like to be able to draw like Fua, Lancia, or the Cat Chummy into that deck, as well as like every single time I have 3 hand traps. So I have 23 hand traps in my deck when I'm going second into that deck, and 9 of them are like blowout cards. So it would give me like the chance, because like the combo I explained is like really good into Malice going first, and your deck plays really well into hand traps. So I wanted to make sure that, like, when I went second, I could give myself like the opportunity to win, because those are all my losses in at the YCS side. I don't think I prepared well enough for Malice, and kind of bit me. I think I played like 12 YCL decks and beat 12. My record against YuGiOh was insane, but I had just like lost to Malice. I lost like 1 Memento, and I went 5-0 in the Giant card, and then lost to Memento, so I went 5-1 after that. He played really well though, so but what it turned out was like I didn't prepare well enough for Malice. Like I tested against it, but not as much as I should have, and I didn't play the 3rd catch. I mean, and I should have. So this card is absolutely I think required. I think you should be playing it. And then we played the 3 copies of Perulia because we wanted to still have 21 or 2 hand traps into YuGiOh when we went second, and I thought this was like the best one. Like it gives you cards to make them end on less. There's really nothing else to say about a card like that. Like it gives you more Yu-Gi-Oh cards to pass them on less cards. Simple as that. I mean, the card is crazy. The Chummies are just insane. The Chummies really help mitigate the game of Yu-Gi-Oh right now. And I think that they are, I mean, you should play them all, right? Main Fu and side the other 6. So that is the deck profile. If you guys like this the content, please be sure to like and subscribe, as well as tell me what you guys would like to see next. I appreciate everybody's continued support. Check out my Twitch linked below, where I stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 6:30 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, 4 hours. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Oftentimes I'll be on more days than that, but those are like the days I'm absolutely guaranteed to be on. I've just been traveling to more out-of-town events, so sometimes on Thursdays and Mondays I am busy. Like Monday I came back and making my deck profile today from the case tournament. I went to Orlando. I'm going to Vegas, and then I'm going to just like a ton of events going to case tournament this weekend. So those 3 days I'm guaranteed to be on, but I think I streamed last Saturday and Sunday as well. I think I streamed after the case tournament and then streamed the YCS. So I'm on more days than that, but I'll definitely be on those days. Thank you guys all so much. I really appreciate everybody's continued support. You guys have been absolutely amazing, and I'll see you guys next time.